Welcome. Welcome to Australia. Welcome to Australian Book Travels. And welcome to our book recommendations for this week. And our chat. A little bit of a chat as well. So, I hope you're all well. As I always do, every time I am working on the channel, I always hope that all of you are doing what you want to do and that you're reading or traveling or just enjoying life, because that's what it's about, isn't it? I know we all have to work and pay bills and things like that, but it is nice when we can enjoy life too, because that's what it's about. You're working to enjoy life, not living to work. So I hope you're all well. Today is a much nicer day. We have a bit of sun today. The last few days, probably the last 4 or 5, have been extremely cloudy, extremely cold, and we have had fog each day for most of the day. Not all day, but for most of the day. So it is proper winter now. It really is. Although we have noticed the days are getting longer. So there's more, it's taking longer to get darker at night, which is lovely. There's more time at night to do things, particularly because we're on a property. There is always fencing to do, or feeding of animals, or planting trees or something. So it's nice to have that extra time at night. Anyway, enough chatting from me. Let's get on. I have a few today that I want to discuss. So let's see how we go. Right, the first few, these are really old, they're old stories, essentially from the 50s and the 60s, by an author, an English author called Miss Read. Now this is the village Christmas book that I tend to read each Christmas, but there are Fairacre stories, and the village stories, and that's Fairacre, and the Howards of Caxley. All different stories, but with a similar feel. Now, Miss Read was actually the pseudonym for Dora Saint, who wrote essentially, as I say, between the 50s and the 60s. I think she wrote a couple in the 70s, but she passed away at quite a ripe old age. I think she was in her 90s when she passed away in 2012, I think it was. But yeah, these books were really begun and written in the 50s and 60s. Now, these are based essentially, they're different, but let's get on to the village ones first. So the village stories are literally that. They are about village life and what goes on. So, people going into the army, a young fellow, his parents live in the village and he goes into the army, and there are things happening, babies are being born and so forth. And there are things that go on, but it's not too scandalous. It's not too shocking. They are just a really pleasant read, as are the Howards of Caxley and the Fairacre series as well. They are really pleasant, not too taxing. I think if you're wanting to escape the world at the moment, these are definitely a book to read, just to really relax and get away from telephone, mobile phones and internet. And these are all written without the technology. And in fact, some people, I think, from memory, don't even have cars. So it's a lovely. They are lovely stories. She was a lovely author. And very similar, if I'm going to equate it, or it should actually be the other way round, Rebecca Shaw's Village Life. So she has some titles, Village Matters, the new rector at the village, and so forth. They were written later. They were written in the late 90s or early 2000s, I think. So these clearly came first. but they're different. With Rebecca Shaw's, obviously they're going to be written, different because they were written in different times. So there were more up-to-date, modern themes through Rebecca Shaw's books. These are, of course, older and just, I guess, just really gentle. I can't say more gentle than Rebecca Shaw's because hers are very pleasant books too. But she does have themes of more modern occurrences, like, you know, babies being born out of wedlock and, you know, bits of crime throughout her books, whereas these are not so much. I do recommend them. They are a lovely read. They are still in print, a lot of them. You get them in these sort of smaller paperbacks, but you can fairly readily get them in secondhand bookshops as well. I do recommend them. They're just a lovely, relaxing read, as I say. So that's Miss Read's books in a couple of different series, so it just depends on what takes your fancy. I recommend definitely the Village School and Village Diary, and the one that as I say, I read at Christmas is the Village Christmas. It's lovely. They're really lovely, pleasant books. They get you away from this modern world. So the next ones I have, quite a few weeks ago, it may even be a couple of months ago now, I don't know if you remember, but I bought a box of books from Abby's Bookshop, as I am inclined to do, and I picked up S.J. Paris's Prophecy. Now, I have read the first in this series, Heresy. This is, if you're going to, again, equate it with anything, it is along the lines of C.J. Sansom's Matthew Shardlake series. His is based in the Tudor times. These are really under Elizabeth I. And the protagonist is an Italian ex-Catholic. I can't say ex-Catholic. He is still a Catholic, but he questions, and he has been excommunicated by the Catholic Church. And the protagonist is Giordano Bruno. I think I told you a few weeks ago, I hadn't yet fallen in love with the protagonist as I had with Matthew Shardlake. I absolutely adore the Shardlake series. They're absolutely brilliant. If you're into, if you really enjoy history and you enjoy a bit of mystery, they're definitely the books to pick up. But so too are these. Having now read this Prophecy, second in the series of Giordano Bruno, I recommend them. They are absolutely fantastic. Lots of intrigue, lots of skullduggery, lots of watch your back. I really do I am enjoying them. So I will be buying, I think I've put on hold the next one in the series, which I think is Sacrilege. There are so far there may be about 6 or 7 in the series, I think. I could be wrong on that, but there are a few, and S.J. Paris is still writing them. So I'm really excited. These, I recommend them if you are into history, particularly Elizabethan, that Tudor Elizabethan history, and you want a little bit of crime and mystery and skullduggery and the workings of the English religion at the time, the concern between the Protestants and the Catholics. If you're interested in the Elizabethan era and life, just general life in England during those times, this is definitely the book. I can't say yet I've fallen in love with Giordano Bruno, but because I think my heart is still with Matthew Shardlake, to be honest, but they really are good. This is running a very, very close second. I recommend S.J. Paris, her Giordano Bruno series. And I think I did say to you last time, Giordano Bruno was he's a real life character, a real life person in the Elizabethan times. He was actually pursued and he had been a monk, a Catholic monk in Rome, and he had a few alternative ideas. And of course, in those days, anyone with alternative ideas, it soon led to claims of heresy, and he was unfortunately, sadly, burned at the stake, like many acclaimed or claimed heretics at the time. So we do know that about him. I don't know what will happen with him. I don't know what S.J. Paris will do with with Giordano Bruno. He is, if she's going to run true to the theme, it may end up quite sad. But if she's just using him as a character to sort out the crime and the problems within the Elizabethan court, then I'm hoping he doesn't meet a terrible ending. I hope he continues. Very, very good series. I recommend it. Now, I have thus far spoken about those books quickly without my spectacles. And now I need my spectacles because I am going to need them because I'm going to discuss these ones a little bit more. Again, quite a few months ago, I bought a box of books from Cracked and Spineless in Hobart, Tasmania, and I undid the box together with you. And in one of those in that box was an anthology of women's writing about walking. It's The Waymakers, edited by Kerry Andrews. Hardcover. We love our hardcover. Oh, before I go on, I will just say the misreads are very quick reads. They're not huge 500 pages. Usually they are only a couple of hundred pages, so they're a lovely, easy read if you're on holiday or on a weekend away or something. They're lovely. S.J. Paris's Prophecy. Now, the first one, I think the heresy was about 480 pages or something. This one is, what have we got here? I'm trying to get that for you. 425. Not as big as the first, but still a decent read at 425 pages. And this is released by HarperCollins and a paperback. So this one is a hardcover. This is, let me get the lowdown for you. It's by Reaction Books or published by Reaction Books. And it is approximately, without all of the acknowledgements and things, it is 295 pages. Now, I truly recommend this because it is actually a little different to what I originally thought. It's even better than what I originally thought. This is a collection of writings from authors and others about walking that they have, there were even poems in here, but some of them are excerpts from novels that talk about walking. So we have excerpts from Jane Austen. Excuse me, I have a tickle in my throat. I beg your pardon. Excuse me. So there, Jane Austen, Mary Wollstonecraft, Eleanor Farjeon, Anais Nin, sorry, I beg your pardon, Sylvia Townsend Warner. They are all, Virginia Woolf even, Kate Chopin, Charlotte Bronte. And what it's doing, you get to read the excerpts, so they're not in chapters as such. They're just in a few pages at a time, and they're excerpts from books or poems that the authors have written. Now, in relation to walking. Now, it could be that they're talking about... Let me go back a little. I think Kerry Andrews is showcasing how walking in novels, in poems, actually showcase or run parallel with other themes. So walking off grief. And as we know now, we are encouraged that if we are going through sad times or bad times, that exercise is good for you. And a good old walk can clear your head, as we say, and make you feel a bit fresher and better, and you can see things a bit clearer. So too do a number of these novelists. And I may just say, some of these novels begin, or the excerpts of the novels begin from, I think it's 1795. Let me just grab that for you. I do want to get you the lowdown. Where are you? Hang on, everyone. So I think, Frances Burney is the first one, and that's in 1778. And it goes on from there. So we then start reading excerpts from Catherine Mansfield, Virginia Woolf, Jane Austen, the Brontes. And so these themes are throughout the novels where walking is involved in the storyline. It's often about walking off grief or walking with friends, walking to love or from love. It's not just talking about walking for exercise. It's talking about walking with and for emotions, and how that relates to the themes throughout the particular novels. I do recommend this. You can, because of the layout and the way it's presented, you can just read one excerpt a night. And that makes for a lovely evening read. Just before you go to bed, you can read a lovely paragraph from Jane Austen's novel in relation to walking. So it really surprised me, because I wasn't expecting. I had a different idea to what this was about. It is way much better. So much better. I recommend it. It really does show you how, when we're reading a novel, you read it, and people may walk in the story. They may walk from one place to another, but you don't always associate that with the actual true theme in the novel. So this is highlighting that, which I think is fantastic. It's a really good read. This is The Waymakers, edited by Kerry Andrews, but it has excerpts from a whole range of generally women's novels. No, actually, they're all women's novels. They are all women's novels. They are. And they're the excerpts that deal with or discuss or highlight the walking within a novel that has been written. I hope that makes sense, but it really is a great book. I recommend it. Fantastic read. Now, the last one really. This is an oldie, when I say old, it is old, but it is also no longer in print. And I want to do something about that, because I think it's a really beautiful read. I don't know if any of you have heard of the English author Sylvia Fenton, and this is called Creature Comforts. This was published by Allen and Unwin. Is that right? Yes, George Allen and Unwin, in 1985. There is a prequel to this called All the Beasts in the Field that was written in 1984. The story of this is, for me, is I bought this book secondhand and read it approximately 25 years ago. I was on holiday and I failed to take something to read with me, so I went into a secondhand bookshop and I bought this book. Sylvia Fenton writes about her life going from corporate London and really always wanting to live in the country, in a cottage in the country. And it's essentially a memoir, but she writes about the animals that she saves and the animals that are part of her life. She was on her own. As I say, All the Beasts in the Field was the prequel. I cannot get it. It is available through via secondhand on, the online Amazon and things like that. But I'm wanting to procure it another way, actually, but I'll go into that in a minute. So this is a beautiful story, true story, how Sylvia is living in her little cottage on her own, and the ups and downs on that, along with the characters of the animals she saves and looks after in the cottage. Now, unfortunately, as it is discussed on the French flap on the dust cover, unfortunately, before this book was published, Sylvia died tragically and tragically young. I don't know how, I don't know the details, but it just says on the French flap that she died tragically young and tragically, before this was published. She had finished the final draft, the final manuscript, but she died before it was published. And her animals went to neighbours, and they were being looked after by neighbours and friends. So it sort of makes it all the more emotional, and for me it's important that I try and procure the original or the first book in this series, All the Beasts in the Field. Now, the way I want to do that, I'm going to be a bit cheeky, and I have decided, I was going to do it this last weekend, but I have decided that I'm going to contact the original publishers and see whether they would republish them, or if they know of anybody who has republished them in the last few years, because I would like to have the two books as a set. When I read this 20 odd years ago, I absolutely adored it. I adore it now. It is beautifully written. It is witty. It's that English humour. It is beautiful. It's emotional, and it's real. So I feel that over the last 20 years, I haven't had the opportunity, and, I've been doing other things as life gets in the way. But now that I'm able to concentrate on my books a lot more, full time really, then it occurred to me the other day that I would really like to see if these books have been republished, or if they can be republished, and I would be interested in them, because I really believe in this book. It's just a lovely story, and a true story. That's the real important aspect of this, I think, because I love the cover too, actually. Now that I'm showing you, I really, there's a badger there, I think, and then the little cottage in amongst the copse of trees. So yes, look, I really enjoyed this at the time, and when I was sort of cleaning out the bookshelf, and it's always been in the back of my mind, and I have in the past tried to purchase the first book, but I'm interested to see if it can be republished if it hasn't already. So if you can get your hands on Creature Comforts, they will be secondhand at this stage as far as I'm aware. Creature Comforts, or All the Beasts in the Field, I do recommend this book. It's lovely writing. It's a true little memoir, sort of, and nature memoir, and lifestyle as well. I recommend it. So that is Sylvia Fenton, Creature Comforts. If you haven't heard of her, I do recommend it. It is a lovely tale, and likely you will only be able to get it secondhand at the moment. But let's see. And I'll let you know when I contact the publishers. I'll let you know how I go. It may all come to nothing, but I will do my best. Waymakers, edited by Kerry Andrews. I absolutely recommend this. It's fantastic. It really, I don't know if any of you remember, but I bought the Dear Mr. Murray book, which is a collection of letters from writers to the publisher, Mr. Murray, in England. It's very fitting to sit with that, I think. Different, but similar in being able to refer to the authors and what they were thinking and how these themes relate to the main premise of their stories. It's very, very interesting, and I'm glad I bought it. S.J. Paris, Prophecy. Absolutely recommend this if you are interested at all in history, in mystery, not wanting to be a poet, but history and mystery, and particularly if you do enjoy C.J. Sansom, they are similar, but not quite so much, but similar, and they're fantastic. And of course, the beautiful Miss Reed, her different series. I really do love the Village series, and I do enjoy just reading The Village Christmas. I think this one's only 99 pages or something, I think, from memory. Oh my goodness, no, 57. So 57, nearly 58 pages. It's a lovely quick read, really nice. So yes, I do recommend all of those books. If you have read any of them, please let me know what you think of them. If you haven't, perhaps now is the time to think about getting them, because they really are good books. Now, again, a few months ago, I went to a music recital of Jane Austen, a Melbourne music recital of Jane Austen's music. So music that she enjoyed, music that she mentioned in her novels. It was absolutely exquisite, and I will definitely go again. It was just stunning. From that, there was an advert pamphlet that I believe I showed you in one of our book recommendation videos. There is a play on Jane Austen's life and excerpts from Pride and Prejudice. So I decided just to get out my ratty old copy and reread. Today's Monday, and I'm going into Melbourne to see that on Thursday. So I do have to get on and read, but having not read it for quite some time, I am excited at how much I am enjoying rereading Pride and Prejudice. It's beautiful. I forgot actually some of the language that's used and some of the wit. So I'm really enjoying rereading it. Yeah, Jane Austen. So I don't think I will be taking you into the play, mainly because I won't be able to video it for you. But I will let you know how it goes. I'm very excited. I think there are only 3 actresses in the play. So I'm really excited. I cannot wait. It's only, I think, an hour and a half long. It's in Carlton, which is an inner suburb of Melbourne. I'm really looking forward to it. So rereading Pride and Prejudice at the moment, along with a few other books, and with the anthology, the Waymakers. I'm just reading a couple of, a section per night. It makes for a really good read and a quick read. It's been fantastic actually at night. Whilst I'm reading this, it's a little bit of relief from this to read the Waymakers. Okay, I think that's it for today. I will try and upload this very quickly for you, and I hope you have enjoyed, or that some of those books are new for you, so that it piques your interest and that you can perhaps investigate them further, or just go out there and order them from an independent bookshop, hopefully. and enjoy them. And let me know what you think. If you have read them, let me know what you think. And when you do read them in the future, definitely give me some comments in the videos. Okay, I wish you all a very good week until I see you next. Remembering that there is the travel video on Saturday as well, where we try and go to libraries, bookshops and street libraries. Not always is that possible, but I try my best. And also the book competition that is coming up. I will give you far more details as we get closer. It will not be, we won't be running it until October. So what is it now? It's the end of July, effectively, isn't it? We're coming to the end of July. So we have a few months yet. But if you are interested, keep your eyes out for that. I'll give you the details in future videos as we get closer to the time. So yes, enjoy your reading, happy eating, good cooking, and safe travels wherever you are. And if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, please stay safe, stay cool and hydrated. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, in the colder parts of the Southern Hemisphere, where we are too, stay warm. And stay safe in amongst the fog and the sleet and the rain and in some places the snow. Okay, I look forward to speaking to you next, whether that be the travel video or the next book recommendation. Do take care. Bye for now.